Every time you feel afraid, your mind just made a choice, and the terrifying part is, you probably don't know you made it. Stay with us, because by the end of this, including a guided meditation, you'll never look at fear the same way again. Here's what we're actually going to look at together. Most of us assume fear comes at us from the outside. The deadline, the email, the conversation we're dreading. But there's another possibility, one that's strangely freeing once you see it. Fear isn't something the world is doing to you. Fear is the friction sound your mind makes when part of you wants one thing and another part of you is doing something else. And the only place that can actually be fixed is upstream of behavior, upstream of circumstance, at the level of what you're choosing to think. That's not a belief system. It's just a closer look at where the static is actually coming from. Let's start with a moment you've probably lived. You're in a meeting. The room is fine. The lighting is fine. Someone asks if you can hit a deadline that, even as the words are leaving their mouth, you already know is unrealistic. And you nod. You say, "Yeah, I can make that work." You even smile. You sound competent. You sound like the person you're supposed to be. And then you walk out. And somewhere between the conference room and your desk, this low hum starts in your chest. Not a sharp panic. Just a dull, churning weight. You call it stress. You call it being busy. You tell yourself you just need coffee, or a workout, or the weekend. That night, someone you love asks you a normal question, "What do you want for dinner? Did you remember the thing?" And you snap. Not loud. Just sharp enough that they go quiet. And later, lying in bed, you don't actually know why you were so angry. The deadline was just a deadline. You've handled worse. But here's what was really happening. The fear didn't come from the deadline. The fear started the moment you said yes while everything inside you was saying no. And your mind has been at war with itself ever since. Think of your mind for a second like a car with two people in the driver's seat. One of them wants to go left. The other wants to go right. Both have hands on the wheel. Both are pressing the gas. The engine is screaming. The tires are smoking. And the car is barely moving. Now, is the road dangerous? No. The road is fine. The problem isn't out there. The problem is that nobody has actually chosen a direction. Fear is just the sound of two hands fighting over the wheel. This is what's happening almost every time you feel that low-grade dread. It's not that life is too much. It's that some part of you wanted to say no, and another part said yes, and now you're trying to drive in both directions at once. Of course you're exhausted. Of course you snapped at dinner. The car wasn't built to go two ways. And here's the part most of us miss. We keep trying to fix the road. We try to manage the deadline, renegotiate the meeting, optimize the calendar, get better at saying yes more gracefully. We change behavior. We change circumstance. And the fear keeps showing up, because the fear was never about the road. There's a quiet idea most of us walk around with, and it goes like this: I'm responsible for what I do, but not really for what I think. Thoughts just happen. Feelings just happen. You can't help what crosses your mind. So we focus all our energy on behavior, on outcomes, on performance, on getting the externals right. But think about this honestly. What you do comes from what you think. The yes you said in the meeting came from a thought. Maybe, I can't disappoint them. Maybe, I should be able to handle this. Maybe just, don't make it weird. The thought came first. The behavior followed, and the fear arrived the moment those two things, what you wanted and what you did, stopped agreeing with each other. So if you only ever work on the behavior, you're working downstream of the actual problem. You can get really good at managing symptoms. You can become impressively functional, but the strain doesn't leave, because the split is still there. The two hands are still on the wheel. The lever that actually matters is one step earlier. It's the thought. It's the moment of choosing. That's the only place where change is possible, because that's the only place where you actually have a choice. Here's the reframe, and I want you to let it land slowly. You are not at the mercy of your fear. You are not a person who is randomly anxious. You are someone whose mind has been quietly making choices that conflict with each other, and the fear you feel is just the honest signal that those choices haven't lined up yet. That's not a burden. That's the door, because if fear were really coming from the world, you'd be powerless. You have to control every variable out there to ever feel safe. But if fear is coming from a split inside, then the moment the split heals, the fear has nowhere to live. This is what it actually feels like. You stop bracing for the world. You realize you've been the one holding the tension this whole time. Your shoulders drop, not because anything outside changed, but because you finally notice the muscle you've been clenching. So what do you actually do with this? It's smaller than you'd think. Before the next decision, even a tiny one, pause for one breath and ask yourself a simple question. Is what I'm about to do the same as what I actually want? Not what I should want. Not what looks good. What I actually want. Underneath. If the answer is yes, move. Move freely. There's no fear in a unified choice. If the answer is no, that's information. You don't have to immediately overhaul your life. You just have to stop pretending the split isn't there. Most of us have spent years saying yes while meaning no and then wondering why we feel so tired. The practice is just to start noticing. That's it. Notice when the two hands are fighting. Notice when wanting and doing don't match. You don't have to fight the fear. You don't have to talk yourself out of it. When the conflict resolves, when you finally choose one direction and mean it, the fear simply doesn't have anywhere to be. It was never the road. It was always the friction. So if you've been walking around with this low hum in your chest that you can't quite name, and you've been blaming the week, the job, the people, the weather, try, just for today, looking 1 inch upstream. Not at what happened. At what you chose, quietly, before it happened. You'll start to see it. The small yeses that were really numbers. The agreements you made with your face while your body was saying something else. And every time you notice, you get the wheel back. Just one hand. Going one direction. And the engine, finally, stops screaming. Let's take a few minutes now and let this settle in the body, where it actually needs to land. If you'd like more teachings and guided practices like this, you can like the video and subscribe. And now, we'll move into a short guided meditation. Let's give this a few minutes to settle. Find a position where your body can be still. Feet on the floor, or legs crossed, or lying down. Whatever lets you stop holding yourself up. Let your eyes close, if that feels right, or soften your gaze toward the floor. Take one breath in through the nose, and a longer breath out. Another one. In and out. Notice the weight of your body. The chair holding you, the ground beneath you. You don't have to do anything to deserve being held. It's already happening. Now bring your attention gently to your chest, your shoulders, your jaw. Just notice. Is there a tightness there? A bracing? A muscle that's been working without you asking it to? You don't have to fix it. Just see it. Think, for a moment, of the two hands on the wheel. The part of you pulling one way, the part of you pulling another. And just for now, just here, you don't have to choose between them. You don't have to resolve anything. You're just allowed to notice that the fight has been happening. Breathe in. Breathe out. Let the shoulders drop a little further. Let the jaw unclench. Let the back of the neck soften. There is nowhere you need to be right now. Nothing you need to perform. No yes you need to say. For these few breaths, wanting and doing can be the same. You are sitting because you want to be sitting. You are breathing because you want to be breathing. There is no split here. Notice how that feels. Quiet. Spacious. Almost boring. That's what peace actually feels like when it stops being dramatic. Stay here as long as you need. And when you're ready, not rushed, let your attention come back to the room, to the sounds around you, to the weight of your hands. Open your eyes. Slowly. Carry this softness with you for as long as it stays. Thank you for being here and practicing together. If you'd like, you can find a free digital ACIM resource in the description. And if you want to mark the moment, a simple comment such as, "I am grateful," is welcome. Thank you for staying with us through this. It takes something real to look honestly at where your fear actually starts, instead of where it pretends to start. Be gentle with yourself as this lands. You don't have to get it perfect. You just have to keep noticing. We're glad you were here.